Welcome to Eye on the Illini Live. This is the post-game edition. We got Marcus Griffin. We'll have Ked Prince on, and we may have Brad Sturdy. There is not a good signal at the United Center, so if we can't get even his voice, then there's not a lot we can do there. But we will look at this. So, Marcus, you and we watched the end of the game together here. I'll give the positives are that you played an Alabama team close.
Yeah.
You had the two Ivasiches who clearly don't they're not at 100% yet. Petrovic is not at 100% yet. I thought Petrovic showed a ton of potentials there.
Yes, he brought some energy.
Yeah, and I mean, you're talking 12 minutes and 5 assists. That's the definition of a point guard. And by the way, knocked down a three. I mean, that gives you some hope.
Yeah.
So you say, well, we get a couple guys coming back and playing better, but there were some other things that were going on that Illinois needs to go back and work on. And I know as somebody who was an Illini legend who played, at the highest levels, let's talk a little bit about what maybe opportunities there are for improvement from the Illini. And obviously, as fans are saying right now, free throws are at one of the things on that list.
Yeah, free throws. We can't. I'm talking about free throws to my fourth grade travel basketball team that we coach here at Dunlap. That is going to be. It's an opportunity to get free points. It's an opportunity to slow down the other team's offense. You got to convert. I think we was below 50% in the second half. I think we shot, 13 for 22 from free throws. It got to get better. But it was two glaring things. The rebound, I thought we would have had a bigger 40-38 with the size advantage that we have. It was just so many long rebounds that the guards have to clean up. The guards got to clean up the long rebounds because when you playing up against a team like Alabama, they're shooting from 40 feet. It's not going to be short rebounds like the rebounds right at the rim. You got to get in there and dig those out. Transition, getting back on defense. We got to acknowledge stuff at half court. You got to turn. You got to backpedal, sprint to half court, turn and backpedal, get your head on a swivel so you can start finding out who you're going to be guarding, especially when you're playing a team like Alabama. You don't have time to run full speed with your back to them, getting all the way down to the free throw line. Because by you turn around, they are already in scoring position. And then the last thing, like I said, at halftime, and me and KP didn't agree with, but Boswell did take off in the second half. We have to find a way to get that ball in the paint. And it cannot be, when you're playing against great defensive teams, it cannot be a lot of isolation. I'm not asking those big guys to score down there, but you have to make a presence because we are not going to hit threes all the time. We got to have second and third ways that we can score. Because if we don't, in the hard Big Ten, it's going to be rough to get buckets when you're not knocking down threes on a consistent basis. And I think we shot, 33% in this game? And I don't know what is our season percentage. Mike, do you got that?
I don't have it right in front of me.
Yeah. Our season 3-point percentage, I don't think is good, but we got to figure out easier ways to get buckets.
Well, Ked, what are your thoughts after a second half that Illinois was tantalizingly close?
Yep.
But that first 5 minutes, it's funny because I would get in arguments with other media members who've never coached before, and I would try to explain to them the first 3 to 5 minutes of a half, and the last 3 to 5 minutes of a half, you could make a living if you can play those well, and the first 4 or 5 minutes of the second half, Illinois, that was the lead that stayed for the rest of the game. Ked, your thoughts?
My initial thought, and it's a tough loss. It's a frustrating loss because the one thing Illinois couldn't do was to contain their guards. I didn't get to hear the very beginning of what Griff talked about, but the guards, like I said to you at halftime, they stole the show. And there's a lot we can say that we could do differently and stuff, and I'm sure we'll get into it and talk about what we think we would have done differently. But I'm just it stinks, and I mean there's a lot of things that went into the game, but I think the one play of the game for me was Illinois was down 1 or 2, I think, and Stojakovic went on his run, and he kicked it out to Zonomir wide open. He makes that shot. The game changes. The momentum changes. He misses it. Alabama goes on the court and knocks down a 3, and they never recovered after that the rest of the game. That was one of the biggest shots of the game to me because they never recovered after that. You know, if you're going to miss a 3, you can't come down the court and give one up.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I found myself frustrated by the fact I know it's an ISO offense, but there's like no movement on the other side of the ball. And so myself, I found it, if you weren't the pick guy and you weren't you weren't the guy with the ball, it kind of takes you out of your rhythm. You're kind of watching to see what happens. And I thought that was tough. I also thought Markovic got in his own head. You start off, every basketball player on the planet started off a half missing 5 shots. You know, it happens to the best of you. And you can't let that get into your head.
Yes.
You know, and he was pressing a bit.
That layup he missed, I told as soon as he did it, I was like, man, I did that so many times. I did that same thing. Like you go up and you expecting somebody to hit you and you go up a little stronger. And next thing you know, you get to the rim and the ball slips out right off the top of the fingertips. And you miss it and you try to get back up and jump real quick. And you like, oh my gosh, how did I miss that layup?
He lost the ball going up. And he did. You know what? Me personally, I can't fault that kid. That kid's effort. He's out there battling with guys that are athleticism is way more than he could. Yes, it is. So I can't get frustrated with that. I mean, to me, we can all say what we think. Me personally, I think Illinois lost the game at the free throw line. You shot 59% of the free throw line.
59. Yeah, they were 13 for 22 for 59.1%.
You can't do that. I'm sorry. You just cannot. And then they come down the court and make them at timely matters. You know, excuse me, that doesn't make any sense. They make free throws when they count it. Illinois did not. They wanted the ball. It's tough because I will say this. Alabama won. But Illinois was much more competitive this game than what they were last year. And, you didn't get a great performance from Keaton Wagler tonight. Anything. It's just too bad because I think if they played 10 times, it may split 5 out of 5.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Shoot.
First thing, this was an Elite 8 battle. Could be a Final Four worthy team. These two teams are really, really good teams. How would have y'all slowed down Alabama in transition? Is there anything off the top of your head that y'all would have used for Illinois' offense that can help slow down their transition, getting the ball out of the?
Yeah, I have an answer. Here's my answer. First of all, if I'm going to play Zonomir, he would never be at the free throw line because chance of getting a rebound is dumb. He would be at the free throw line, and I would have Kylan Boswell, who's your best defender at half court. Because you cut the snake off because their guards are quick. And if you know, and our best defender, our best shot blocker is Zonomir. So when teams did that to me, I always have my best shot blocker in the back because if you guys remember, early in the second half, it didn't happen a lot in the second half, but it was early. They attacked the basket and Zonomir was out. So if he's in the game, teams are less likely to attack him, and then you cut the head of the snake off because Kylan's quick enough laterally to go left and right. They didn't do that, and everybody's different. I'm not saying that would have worked, but that's what I would have done to at least try to slow it down. And I will say this real quick before you answer, Mike. I don't know how you guys feel. I'm really, really impressed with the matchup zone that they went to that was deep. The only tough thing about it is that they didn't get a lot of blockouts, but that zone was so far extended, it really confused Alabama that Illinois just couldn't get the timely breaks. a lot of people don't like this. I'm a big 50-50 guy. Every time there was a 50-50 ball, Illinois couldn't come up with it. Griff, they couldn't come up with it. Andre misses the ball down against the layup, they get it back. It matters. I mean, it really and truly does matter.
Yes.
And you're not going to hear anything about officiating. I have no smoke about officiating because both teams were in foul trouble, good calls, bad calls. That's not why Illinois lost. Illinois lost because they didn't make free throws. That's why they got it. I
think they didn't make free throws, but also they couldn't get a stop. I mean, you have to defensively, you have to be able to get a stop. I used to play a lot of junk zone because I didn't have the best players, and we could use those zones, switch them up, and get stops on people. And I think this is a game where you needed to get a stop every once in a while, and I think that's something that over the course of the season, and I don't like the word tough because tough isn't the right thing, but there's got to be a resolve that, we got to stop him this time. My guy isn't going to score, and maybe I'm stuck guarding Marcus and that there's no hope, but I got to say, he ain't going to score.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel there was that line in the sand, that they said, you aren't going to cross this. And that was one thing I think was an issue. You got to get a stop every once in a while.
I agree.
And that was concerning. Free throws, I totally agree with the free throw thing. I was a 93% free throw shooter and I sucked. So you can learn how to shoot a free throw. And then the other thing that I have a problem with, two guys on offense moving and the other three getting bored and kind of watching.
That's NBA basketball, Mike. I'm sorry, but and I agree with you. But that's what Illinois basketball has become. Because in the NBA, that's what you see, and they run the Oklahoma offense, and that's what it is. Sorry to cut you off, but
I get it, and I just look. You know what? Figure out, and I'm Underwood's a smart guy. He knows basketball offense fantastically. Figure out some motion for the guys on the weak side. Give something to get them involved. You know what I mean? If nothing else, one guy, I mean, if you're going to stand and watch, to Marcus's point, have that guy run back on defense, so that you don't get fast breaked on. I mean, I'm sorry, but and then
can I say something real
go
quick?
Ahead.
So first thing, did y'all see the 4-out-1 in that they did at the beginning of the second half?
Yes.
4-out-1 in. But yes, I'm screaming at my TV after the first. Did y'all see? I sent the text message to the guys.
Yeah.
And I was like, I did not like that first 5 minutes. And in my head, I was saying, let's pick them up in a 1-2-2 and fall back in a 1-2-2. They played the 1-2-2 later in the half.
It was too late, yeah.
It was too late. But all I was thinking is we need to slow them down.
Right, exactly.
And the best way to slow them down, let's throw up some little false press just for them to take some of the air out of the basketball, and let's fall back in the zone because we couldn't keep them in front of us. We couldn't keep them out of the paint. Let's fall back into that zone because that zone slowed them up a lot.
A lot. It did.
It slowed them up. And I would have just took that we would not have played man-to-man for the next 7 minutes of that game. We would have started at that 15-minute mark, took it down to about the 8-minute mark, playing that zone. I kid you not, we would have had to lead because those guys now, but again, though, KP, like you said, we wasn't getting those long rebounds. Those 50-50 balls are.
And I'll tell you, another 50-50 ball.
Why were they not getting them, though, guys?
Because
the guards was leaking out.
Yes.
Well, and the other thing is, and this is what I think the kryptonite is going to be, teams that have guards who are both fast and laterally quick are going to give Illinois fits.
Yeah, I agree.
And I just think the lateral quickness, you spread the court out, and I think that was problematic. I mean, you've literally got to make physical contact because if a guy's quicker than you, if you don't put a butt on, if you don't find a way to get between him and the ball, you're in big trouble. And when you've got a lot of court to cover, I think that's a tough one for Illinois.
Tell you another thing real quick. I mentioned Zonderman's 3. How about you had an 86% free throw shooter walk up for Alabama, miss the free throw, and then you get a lane violation.
And you could see that one on TV, folks. I don't care. The whole excuse that you never see it called, it was so clear.
Yes.
We were like, oh, God, that one's coming,
I threw something I threw a water bottle at my TV.
But see, and those are the kind of things, believe it or not, that cost you games. And like I know I'm reading some of the comments, people Brad Underwood don't like to play zone, but I'm gonna tell you, I think it helped them tonight. Now, I will say this. I'm looking at the schedule. In the tournament, this is gonna happen again. And when they play UConn, but Illinois is not going to face guards like that. Their guards are 40, 45, 50% of their offense.
Oh,
they make tough shots. I mean, and sometimes we can overanalyze. I'm going to tip my hat to them. They made crucial shots. They made big threes. And yes, the zone slowed them down, but we didn't capitalize when they did this. And when you play zone, especially in a shooting environment like the United Center, they're going to be long. And I agree. Guards didn't block out. And I know that was talked about. I know they talked about their guards rebounding, and they didn't do it, and they leaked out and giving them second and third chance points. And when you do that, you give up a three, then you come down the court and don't score. But all this beside, as good of a shooting team as they're supposed to be in tonight, it wasn't great. You have to make free throws. If you're going to be a team like this, there's no way. And I'm going to tell you my last comment. As much as I hate to admit this, guys, I think Ty Rodgers would have helped them. They need that one dude who's just keep it PG, who's a jerk.
Who's a Lucas Johnson?
Yes, they need that. And Ty Rodgers, Kylan does really, really well. Don't get me wrong.
You need
I think he does. But you need another guy
need more
like
than
that.
one, yeah.
Yes. Because
not the Highlander.
Yeah, because it's tough for him. And I'm going to tell you, I mean, he's going to log a lot of minutes because what they're expecting him to do, defensively, and it's going to be tough for him. And no matter how you look at it, so here's a guy that logged 39 minutes last game. He logged 33 tonight, and I think personally, this is me. I know people don't like to hear this. I think it affects his shot at times, and having Petrovic back should help.
Oh,
yeah, I think there's and look, I want to be clear here. I'm not particularly there was plenty of things to work on. This is probably a good thing because now Underwood can chew on some people during practice about getting rebounds and hustling down court and a variety of different things. But I will say there were some, like I said, there was some reason for hope as well because neither of the Ivasiches is particularly healthy right now. Right. And you could tell they didn't have any wind. So you didn't have that. And Stojakovic is still coming back. So, he is unbelievable.
He's tough.
And then I'm telling you, Petrovic, I got to be honest, because I've made more jokes about John Belushi and the chocolate donut stuff from the Olympics, but I'm telling you, this guy, when you're in there for 12 minutes, you go 1 for 1, but you end up with 5 assists in that time frame. The only thing he did is he had more turnover, and he played defense where he got over in front of guys that nobody else was getting in front of. Yeah. He stopped a drive. So I think there's some hope that as Illinois gets these guys back, that they'll be stronger. But again, I give props to Alabama. They were too quick. And I was going to ask you guys remember Loyola Marymount?
Mm-hmm. Back in the day, I do.
I'm telling you what, I would get some films up of their fast break off of made baskets, and I would force Illinois to run up and down the court until they proved to me that they can stop that.
I think Illinois, people say they're not fast. They're not lightning quick, but they're good enough to keep people in front of them. They just are. And we cannot minimize the fact either. You're right. You don't have neither twin, Zonovan or Tomislav, is healthy. Tomislav looked like he's winded. He looked really, really tired. He could barely move. And you know what? He picked up some weight. And I don't know, maybe he's tired. He didn't look as quick. He didn't look for his pick and pop game. I know he tried, going into the post a couple times. It's an excuse, but that's not why they lost. Even though they're both out, I think this team is good enough to where they lose by 4 points, they still could have won. And you don't have a healthy roster. So if there's a silver lining that you're looking for, hopefully that they're going to be healthy. And I just think when you look at the team in general, when they're all clicking, I'll say this. Isolate Andre Stojakovic early than when it's crunch time. Putting him at that pitch post corner, let him go to work all the time. Why wait? Why wait till the second half? Get him in foul trouble. I don't care if he shoots 27 times a game. If he's shooting and if he's converting, now if he's not making free throws, that's a concern. And I can tell you this, his dad is going to be pissed. I can assure you that.
Let me give y'all something. I think I was reading the comment, and as I was thinking about the game, it jumped into me. It hit me in the head. Illinois tried to play Alabama's pace in this game, and I felt like, could we have slowed the game down a little bit to get it to more of the pace that we want to play? Because we're not as quick as Alabama. You're trying to run up with Alabama. I think Alabama loves to score to get to the 95s to 100s. But I don't think Illinois wants to play. We can score, but I don't think that's the pace that we wants to play. And maybe next time when we play a team like this, we just slow the ball. We don't run the ball up. We just slow it down, run some time off the clock. Let's run through our offense, and so we can get good shots at the basket. But that second half, it was just their defense was so physical, and those guards was getting into us. It was just ISO. It was ISO after isolation after isolation. I wish we could see how many assists we had in the second half.
Yeah, and Marcus, I will tell you that the other thing that kind of gets me with that ISO though is there were multiple possessions where you got down to 10 seconds and the ball hadn't been inside the 3-point area. And you know, you got to get some penetration. And I think when it comes down to the end of the game, I feel pretty confident that Stojakovic and Boswell are willing to go out and make the big plays.
Oh, yeah.
But you're going to need a couple more guys to be there so that they can't load up on them. And I think that's the, you know, and I don't care who it is, whether Merkovich, you know, gets his confidence back a little bit, or Wagler, you know, or Tomislav feels better, but they got to get another offensive threat or two out there during crunch time. Because if I'm out there, I'm going to collapse off of my guy and make sure that I can help with Boswell and Stojakovic if I'm playing defense against him.
What's our best lineup? What's our best lineup?
I like Boswell. I like Stojakovic. I like David. I like Tomislav. And I like Keaton Wagner. Those would be the five. And Mike, to answer your question, I do think Keaton Wagner. I think Ked Marcus could be that guy. Tonight was just one of his lowest output scoring.
And I'm not saying,
season.
Yeah, I'm not trying to insult anybody, Ked. I'm just saying that's where we got to get.
Okay.
You know.
No, I agree with you because you know Michael Jordan always said one player's not going to win a game, two is going to keep you competitive, three will give you a chance. You have to at least have three legitimate scorers out there to have a shot at winning anything at all. You know, and you look at Alabama tonight; they had 4 guys, 5 guys in double figures. But Illinois had 4 guys in double figures. So the one guy who, I mean, like I said to you, Wagler didn't have a great shooting night tonight. Logged a lot of minutes, but I'm going to keep harping on the free throw line. Alabama shoots 74%. Illinois shoots 59%. And I can assure you in the press conference, and I've not heard it, that's going to be brought up. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, you know, if you want to go, let's take it away from percentages because people don't think in percentages. You don't play basketball in percentages. But if Illinois, you know, shoots the same percentage, they get 4 more points at the line.
Yeah.
That might be that might have changed the game around a little bit, huh?
Well, and then you have guys that are really like Keaton Wagler, who is a 88% free throw shooter. He goes 3 for 5. You know, Kylan Boswell 77%, and you know, he was 6 for 7. He missed a crucial one at the end. Overall, I mean, just as a team, and I mean, I can't pretend that Stojakovic, you know, didn't shoot the ball up in the free throw line. Being 2 for 5, he's too good of a player to go 2 for 5 in the free throw line. At that crunch time, he's played too much basketball.
He goes across his face a little bit like Lonzo Ball.
Even his 3-point shots look like that.
That's I've coached kids who do that, you know, and none of them play major college ball, but I do think that's something that, you know, when you miss sight of the basket for a second on there, that does make it a little bit tougher, but you know, it's rhythm and timing, so you know you can have a unique shot as long as it goes in. You practice it enough.
I know fans are mad. I know fans are upset. You see all the negative comments on social media. I'm always that way. I guess I can be, but I'm looking at the silver lining. You make free throws. I'm not mad with the offense. I'm critical of the officiating. I don't think they affected the game. I just really don't. I mean, there was a time at the end of the game, some of the fans wanted an offensive foul or flagrant. That wasn't. I mean, are you kidding me? It wasn't.
Look, I agree it wasn't, but I'm telling you one thing: as I watched that, I was talking to some guys, and I was like, this is exactly what you don't want to do. You don't want to act like a 2-year-old out there and open the door to these referees making weird decisions.
Oh, yep.
No. So again, I'm not saying it was a foul, but as I watched it, I'm like, this could be a foul. And obviously Underwood was right there.
They're not at the end of the game. I mean, Brandon, I'm sorry. If you think the officials are going to call something like that, I'm sorry, at the end of the game, they're not. And that's why they didn't call it. That's exactly why they didn't call it. It wasn't aggressive enough. And we can all go back to the Kylan Boswell foul at the game at home when they played Texas Tech. I understand all that, but I'm really, really sorry. I had no doubt in my mind that it was going to be a play on. It just was. To be honest with you, I didn't see it at first. I thought maybe they were mad because he traveled or something like that. And then I'm like, no way. There's no way. But at the end of a game, they're not going to call that. I'm sorry. Now, if it was intentional, yes, but that was too minimal. I'm sorry. And it didn't cost them the game. Free throws cost them the game.
Yeah, I thought the referees overall were bad to both teams. I thought they called too many fouls. I thought they let quite a few travels go by both teams.
That's why I said it was fair.
As long as you're going to do both ways, it's fine. But I didn't think they were particularly. Let's put it this way: they didn't affect the game. I just didn't think they were particularly competent. But
free throws and half-court defensive breakdowns lost this game. Because even with the free throw shooting, if we would have just communicated on a couple late half court
drive to the basket,
we was in the game.
I'll tell you what, fellas, you know how good a rebounding team Illinois is? Alabama, and Illinois out-rebounded them, but I'm going to tell you, it wasn't easy. I watched them play Purdue. They focused on crashing the boards tonight, and they made it tough for Illinois tonight. That was another key thing.
Or Purdue beat them?
Purdue beat them at Alabama. So and I think they are rebounded. I think they are rebounded Alabama. I could be wrong, like 52 to 30 something. It was a lot. Ooh. It was really bad. And that's why Purdue was big, but they focused on it. They went in to do that. And Alabama, which I understand that they lost the game, so they were challenged and they met their coach's challenge.
Yeah, and look, if you go down, I think it's like the last 3:21. I don't think Illinois had a stop, and you've got to get a stop. And again, these are all things that you can work on as a coach and as a team, as a development. I really disagree with the folks who are talking about you don't schedule tough. I think this team has enough potential talent-wise that you do schedule like this. Because this is how Izzo does it, and he manages with teams that everybody wants to throw dirt on his grave every year, and he manages to get teams going into the NCAAs, and MSU doesn't always win those games, but you got to get ready for Big Ten season, and now they've got. I mean, UConn's going to be tough as nails. They're gonna have some tough teams, and Tennessee's not gonna. They're gonna play great defense. Illinois is gonna need to get better, and that's how you do it.
I'm all for that.
Sharpen steel.
I don't want to see Illinois play Champaign Centennial. I want to see them play good competition. They're good enough. You saw it. They were on the big stage. Anybody.
And by the way, Izzo won the big game in 2000. So yes, he has. And I was a hell of a lot younger guy when that happened. I think I was 33, not 58. So, I mean,
that team.
Yeah. And
that was a good team.
Yes, it was. And so the bottom line is Illinois is going to have to figure out, this team, it goes on a journey, and they've got to be able to start. I don't want them to peak. Like last year, what do you think they peaked in? Late December?
Mm-hmm.
Then when KJ got that
everywhere.
left wrist hit, and then it was a different team from then on. So I would much prefer to see, they've got things to work on. I'd prefer to see them do that. And by the way, I'm just going to say right here, you want to make me laugh? All the money in the world, that's freaking hilarious. You see the dollars Duke is paying. You see what BYU's paying AJ. You see what Kentucky's paying. I mean, no offense, but if you want to prove to people you don't know anything about college basketball or what's going on, if you think Illinois has got the top dollars in basketball, you are in your world is not reality. I didn't know how to.
Okay, it's Ked's turn. So listen to me. I can tell you 2 kids that did not come to Illinois because of all the money that these people think that Illinois has. Okay. Do you think Donnie Sarr would be a Duke? He was demanding a hell of a lot of money.
Who you say?
Donnie Sarr, who's a kid who was a lock to Illinois. And this kid was just flat out begging for money all over the place, and Duke paid him. Okay. Illinois just lost, I don't want to say this high school kid's name either. I mean, I shouldn't do that, I guess. There's another kid that is playing who just committed to a school and was demanding at least $2 or $3 million. So for the people who are going to sit here, I understand that you can think whatever you want, but I'm going to tell you, I will never, ever get on a podcast. I would never write anything unless I was 100% sure. And Mike knows because I've showed it to him. Correct, Mike? You've seen those text messages. Illinois is not going to pay out all this money for these kids. And so these people can think that if they want. That's fine. I'm cool with that. But it's not true. Sorry. And I don't blame them. Brett Bielema was the same way. You can't – I mean, some of these kids are demanding all this money as a freshman. I think North Carolina, Gonzaga have guys on the bench that are both in the top 30 and they don't even get off the bench. But you're going to pay a guy, $3 million and they're not proven? So for the people who think that, they're wrong. And if I'm going to pay somebody like Sijakovic, he's a proven player. But no, they don't have all the money in the world. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not saying Illinois is underfunded, but let's say – top 15, I can live with that. Top 10, top 5, no.
Ain't the Big Ten the top conference in NIL this year?
There was
that's the problem with this is the transparency component.
Yeah,
because you don't really know how much they're spending.
True.
You'll have that supposedly next year. But that's why I've said on the podcast on football games, I'd love to see number 1 Ohio State 10-0, 30.5 or whatever they're spending. Illinois number 21 7-3, 8.5. So the millions, Yeah. And like I said, Illinois does a good job. They but the bottom line is there's it's just not this money machine. Obviously, Marcus, you made billions, but not every basketball player.
Well, so here's the deal, Mike. I have some numbers for you this time. I just Googled and it's out there. The top teams, $10 million basketball clubs. Okay, where do we go here? Computer. Arkansas, BYU, Duke, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisville, Michigan is one. North Carolina, St. John's, and Texas Tech. Did I miss Illinois? I don't think I heard that. Okay, that's in the $10 million club. So for people who think there's all this money that there's out there, I mean, and yes, they're not last and they compete, but if they think that they have this big $22 million cap and they're just out there or $40 million cap and paying people, doesn't work that way. And I'm gonna say it to you again: they have lost recruits. Because of it. And Tarter Head, I'm gonna tell you, we talk as a staff. BYU has a ton of money, and you can tell. Look at those players out there. How in the hell they just automatically turn a program around like that? It's because they're throwing money at those kids, and I don't blame them.
Oh yeah.
And look, and let's be honest with you. I want to be really clear. I think the players should get paid. I came to watch Illinois win with Marcus Griffin on the court. I did not come to watch Illinois play with a bunch of guys like me who really care about the school, because you're never going to win a game. So the bottom line is I think the players should be paid, and I also think you can't stop people from bending the rules. So let them do what they want. Just make the transparency. I just want to know, if Ohio State's paying $40 million for a football team, and Illinois is paying 10, I'd just rather know, like, dollars for dollars what we're getting out of our coach. And
you know what? I'll use my last comment.
I agree that players should get paid, but not what they're getting paid now. Like, it seemed like the pendulum was over here, and they went all the way over here.
Yep, I agree.
We need to reset it and get it back in the middle.
And, the main reason they're not doing it is there's a feeling, we don't want to call these players employees because of some of the trickle down that means. Sailed. But to be honest with you, if you would make it more of employees and you could put in a salary cap, you could have a labor agreement, and it would probably be much better overall. But look, that's the biggest challenge of college sports today is, unlike the NFL, unlike the NBA, Major League Baseball, when you come in first place, you also get first pick in the talent because you got more money and you got more tradition. Yeah. In the NFL, you come in first place, you pick 32nd, and you got to figure out, like, if I want to keep my team good, you got to figure out how to do that.
Mike, I want to make one more comment about this.
Yep.
I know, and I'm done with it because there was a big basketball game tonight. I want to focus on that. But it was no secret how close I was to the Coleman Hawkins family. And this summer, we had a cookout. No sarcasm, we really did. And I want to tell you right now, I was with the family. Whatever he got at Kansas State to leave Illinois, BYU was going to double it. They didn't go to Kansas State because of the environment. That's why they didn't go. So BYU has a ton of money, and they offered to double what he got at Kansas State. So, yes, this is out there. It's there, and Mike, and like you said, it's not going to change. They have to put a cap on it. I don't know what it is, but Illinois right now, they've been competitive. Maybe that's why Coach Underwood was going overseas, because you don't have to deal with that. You don't have to pay as much.
You don't have to pay as much.
Yep.
So here's the other thing. We're just kind of going all over the board here, but I'm no offense, William, because you usually have decent feedback here, but I'd say a lot of things about Brad Underwood and Brett Bielema, but aren't going to try. That's, I guess, I don't even understand where that comes from. Again, I'm not trying to say either coach is perfect or whatever, but I don't have that. And then this is, St. Dominic. Here I am agreeing with him 2 podcasts in a row on some things. I'm going to need counseling. But this is the challenge of NIL. You pick the right guy and you look like a star. Florida State did that, and they went undefeated and unfortunately had their quarterback get hurt. And then the next 2 years, they brought in the wrong guys, and they've sucked as a football program. So it isn't easy picking the right guys, and that's why Signetti has been so incredible. First off, he's a good coach. Second off, he got these guys to pay a lot more money than they've ever paid for the football program before. And then the third thing is he's been right on most of his personnel picks. If you're a good coach, you got money, and you're right on your personnel picks, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Bielema's been pretty correct. Underwood's been pretty correct. They don't have the funds of some of the other people, and I would say football's probably further behind the top team than basketball is. And so, that just means you can't miss when you take a chance. Like, they got Luke Altmaier and paid a little bit of money for him. He wasn't the number 1 quarterback out there that year, but Illinois made the right choice, and they've had 3 excellent years under Luke Altmaier. But
yeah, they did.
They're not like like I said, they don't have that billionaire out of BYU who's going to pay $9 million or whatever he paid for AJ, and then next year get the check. I mean, hell, he got the G League player, right? So I mean, he's definitely got the checkbook out, and more power to him.
Remember, I told you guys about Coach Underwood was going to mention free throws. Reading some tweets from my colleagues, Brad Underwood. The good thing is we got fouled. The bad thing is we got fouled. Free throws. That's what I mean. That's why you lost. That's why you lost the game.
And look,
go ahead. Sorry.
They got to take a personal accountability for that.
Yeah.
I honestly, you think about, I wish I was a billionaire, because I will tell you one thing. If I was a billionaire, Illinois would have 2 or 3 years in a row of really good football and basketball teams until my wife just beat me over the head saying that you're not going to spend that much money anymore.
Man, if I was a billionaire, I wouldn't even say how much money I'd be. You want what? Don't even ask. Just send the bill.
I'd be like, you know what? I'll get the first 30 million, and Marcus gets the next 30 million. We'll have a $60 million football roster, and we'll see how good Mr. Day is over at Ohio State when Brett Bielema's got double the money of him.
But we better win, though. I know that.
I'll pass it. I'll just cheer you guys on.
But no, look, why hasn't the Jags owner done more? Shad Khan has done incredible amount of stuff for this program, football and basketball. You couldn't ask for a better supporter of Illinois sports. Larry Geese, the same thing. So you got two guys who are really, helping this program for the success that they have. You wouldn't hear me say anything bad about either one for their support for the University of Illinois. I don't know, Ked, how do you feel?
I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna be real careful how I say this. They wanted to offer a lot more money, and there were some hiccups behind it. I have to confirm because I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I'm gonna tell you right now, they've offered some money. But sometimes when you make that kind of money, you want to be, and I don't blame them because it's their money, it's a lot of money. They want to dictate how it goes and who gets that money. But I'm going to tell you, Shad has offered, and he has been really, really nice. I mean, just think about this. If you follow us on Twitter, I mean, Brett Bielema got, when he was doing recruiting in the first bye week, he gave him his airplane to go recruiting. So I'm just telling you, there's something, and I don't remember what it was, the reason why he couldn't just throw a bunch of money at Illinois. If I find out, I'm not asking you, beg you to subscribe to our message board. It'd be great, but I'll put that out there on there. But I will tell you, he has offered some money. I know that. I think he built a golf course on there too just recently, if my memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know where this program would be without him the last, 10, 15 years. Now let's go back to this comment. I want to hear your guys' Marcus on this. What were your thoughts on the changing up of moving away from the zone and back to man-to-man?
You asking me that?
Yep. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Like, you showed them we got back in the game. I think we stopped their momentum when we went zone. They was flying. We stopped their momentum. They couldn't score. They were shooting even deeper shots. But right. The issue is that we wasn't cleaning up those long rebounds. If I would have kept hammering in the huddles, guards, this is you. This is on you. You got to clean up the rebounds. We're going to stay in this zone. We're going to get back in the game, and you guys are going to clean up those long rebounds. And then we're going to go down. We're going to get Stojakovic on the elbow, and we're going to let him create offense for everybody. But it starts with we're going to fall back into that zone. We're going to be long. We're going to be big. If they shoot it 40 feet, we just got to rebound the basketball. I love the fact that we went zone. I hated the fact that he got us out of the zone, and we never went back into it.
My take is it's easy when you're in a zone to just go to the ball and not block out. That's the bad thing about it, because some of those shots were long enough to where 50-50 of those balls Illinois probably could have gotten. But when you shoot them like that, because you're a zone, you're guarding a spot. But I will say this. They spread the floor, and they really, it was like a matchup zone, which I kind of liked. I'm not going to lie to you. If I did, a lot of people, Brad doesn't like zone, and I hope he goes back to it because I thought it was really, really effective, especially when you're playing a team with good guards. Sometimes you change it up. I know, like, for me, I play a man, and then I'd always call them out 1, 2, 3. I never yell 2-3 zone. I never yell 1-3-1. I think that's cheesy in junior high because teams hear you call it out, then they're prepared for it. Sometimes before the shot clock, I would change. I would tell my team, and once it gets to 12 seconds, we do this, we do that. There's multiple things that you can do. At the end of the day, because they didn't get stops, they still lost the game because of the free throw line. I'm not going to change my mind on that. Sorry.
Let's give Alabama some credit too, because
Thank you, sir.
Alabama did come in and play a hell like that team. That team is good.
They are.
Alabama is a top 5 team. Like when I seen everybody they got, I put them up as a top 5, top 8 team along with Illinois. That team is good. That team is really good. So let's give them some props because those guards are tough. And for anybody to beat them late in March, you better have a quality rotation of guards because they are going to put pressure on you and pressure on that rim because they're trying to get in that paint. It's either threes or layups for Alabama.
I will say this, though. Griff, I know you probably don't know a lot about Milo Petrovich, but I'm going to tell you, buddy, remember this night, 11-9, the point guard that's been hurt, number 77 with Ray Grange's number on. Griff, I'm going to tell you, when he's healthy, that kid has a gear, man. I promise you. Remember this night and this podcast, when he's healthy, he's the fastest kid on the team. He is the fast. It don't look like it. I don't know if he's nervous and don't want to tweak it. I don't blame him because those hamstrings are they're long nagging injuries. But when he's healthy and he's played in enough games, I'll tell you this: before he got hurt, I think he was going to be the starting guard next to Colin Boswell. That's how good of a player he is. He's really good.
I think it should be him, Boswell at the 2, Stojakovic at the 3, and then go our bigs. How you want to do them at the 4 and the 5? Yep. I think that should be the starting lineup.
He's going to be good.
Yeah, Wagler's really good, and I think maybe you just go with the hot hand between, the hotter one between Wagler, Petrovic, and a Boswell, depending on who played well the game before. But I think you've got a rotation of really 3 pretty darn good guards there that you can use. And I was always a big believer in keeping them fresh, and so that you could keep the defensive pressure up. So if I got 3.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. If I got 3 guards, then I use all of them so that while they're out there, they're expected to go, 100%.
Yeah, agree.
So that's a I know that's ancient way of thinking about it, but that's just how I tend to think about things.
No, and I'll tell you what though is if you want to slow the guards down, if he's healthy, because Griff is right. We're both right. We talked about the guards. Just think if you had Keaton Wagler, Colin Boswell, and a healthy Petrovic. All 3 of those guys. Because Illinois went small. They went small because how fast they were, but then you give up a lot to the basket with Z being out. I just think once he's healthy, that'll give them a different look. It's too bad that he wasn't healthy enough tonight. I don't know if he would have made a difference in the game, but he's a tough kid. I'm just, but again, Thomas Love looks not like himself. And to tell you the truth, when he didn't get to start tonight, because I knew how big of a game this was to Illinois, I wasn't expecting a lot out of him. I really wasn't, because for that reason, if he was 100% healthy and Coach Underwood didn't say he was, he would have got the start, and he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And again, that's the reason for hope that, you've got those opportunities and for improvement. And I think, I think a real good point by Kai is, Alabama answered the call, Purdue exposed them, and then they responded. And that's exactly what Illinois has to do now, because we just easily talked about 3 or 4 things. This is a really good team, okay? So we're not upset. But we just talked about 3 or 4 things that could make this team better, and they've got to now incorporate that in. And if I'm Brad Underwood, the team now can listen. They have a little bit more reason to listen to me. You should have their attention, because I don't think these guys at all enjoy losing. So
when is the UConn game?
That is coming. Well, you get me right after I get out of the schedule.
I think it's next week. I believe. I know. I think it's sometime next. I mean, I could be wrong.
It's like the first week of December, ain't it?
Maybe right.
Yeah, I think so. No, I'll get it up here in a second. Yeah. So we talk about this is exciting podcasting right now. But we talk about, with you've got They're gonna have to play Long Island and UT Rio Grande, and then the day after Thanksgiving on Friday the 28th, UConn, and that's right in the middle of the day. So that should be really fun.
That's a terrible game.
Same thing with UConn.
Game.
You know what though? Play basketball. Then because they're playing the same game, the same time frame. Play, compete.
A week and a day later, you play UConn on a Saturday, prime time, 7:00. So they may be.
Who was right after Thanksgiving?
That's just. UConn's the 28th, so the day after Thanksgiving, and then Tennessee is the day of the Big Ten football championship on the 6th of December.
And that's at Tennessee, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's going to be an awesome atmosphere right there.
So, but you know what you got to work on, and you've got Long Island and UT Rio Grande. Take care of some business, and maybe also have a little bit of time to get some guys undinged up a little bit, which is also something that's necessary as well.
Yeah, I saw Coach Underwood made the comment that Milo's practiced 3 times in 40 days. And I know people are probably sick of hearing that, and I understand it.
It takes time.
It does. It really does. And just think about how good Thomas Love is. And tonight, I think, what do you have? 3 points tonight? He just wasn't himself.
He was 1 for 3, I think.
Yeah, and we know how good he is.
Yeah.
So he wasn't himself, and but I get it.
And people don't look at this.
Yeah, I think
I'm more impressed with this game than I was with the Texas Tech win, because it's just the level of competition that I think Alabama is. I think Illinois is really, really close. Griff,
here's what I don't know who said it, you or Mike. Alabama got beat at home by Purdue, a teachable moment. Brad Underwood got beat tonight at the United Center, teachable moment. They're a good team. They are. When you look at the whole team, the body of the work, they're a good team. Matthew, you're right. 2 for 5 from Andre. It was just I'm just baffled. But like I said to you guys, his father is very, very competitive, and I can assure you there'll be some conversations had about that. And Andre knows. I mean, he really is. But I don't want to see this team a wasted opportunity. I know people are mad and saying Coach Underwood can't coach. I have no problem with what they did tonight, substitution-wise they did. But as far as like what they did, what they ran on defense, the zone, kudos to Coach Underwood for giving Coach Cam Crocker, a chance to play zone. Other guys that coach with Coach Underwood, he didn't give them an opportunity to do that. And so I'm cool with that. But my only complaint other than free throws, probably some of the substitution pattern. There's a couple guys that I would have on the floor more. And some guys I probably would have shot them a bit more. That's just me, but maybe they saw something different than I did. But, to each their own.
Yeah. I mean, again, I have a hard time getting too fired up about there's always in any game you can look back at, well, I should have done this, I should have done that. And I'm sure Alabama's looking back and saying, well, what if we'd have done this and that too? We could have maybe won this easier. And I think the Illinois team did a decent job, but again, there's so much opportunity for improvement here. And that's what you want out of a team, Yep. You don't want a team that you look at and you're like, yeah, there's no way we could have hung with these guys. And I think this is a great one because I don't know in the Big Ten, I don't know if you're going to run into a team that at least even I guess Purdue.
There's no guards. But Purdue has good guards like that, but they're not as athletic. They're just really savvy, good shooters. You're not going to face guards. Yes, you just got to get a hand up because they're not going to blow by you. I mean, when you look at the whole conference, and I've seen every team play, I don't see a bunch of guards like that. And there are some good teams in the Big Ten. Don't get me wrong. I understand that, but I don't think Illinois is going to face them. Now, having said that, you have to be prepared for the tournament because you're going to face a Gonzaga, a Duke. You're going to face a team with some good guards. This is why I say this is a learning experience, and they will. And I would say this too, though. A guy we haven't talked much about was Kylan Boswell. The way he bounced back in the second half, I was really, really encouraged to see him do that. That was nice to see that with him. Our boy David, he didn't have this typical 27 and 21, but still, when you look at the end of the day, yeah, he did. He still put up a double-double. And he had 4 assists and played 30 minutes. So he didn't shoot the ball well tonight, but, he was 2 for 6 from 3 and 4 for 13 from the field. Not your typical day, but I think playing against athleticism like that is only going to help him as well.
Yeah, I agree. And look, the bottom line is you can't play perfect every day. And I think he got a little frustrated there in the second half and early on. And I think he'll, it gives him the opportunity on how to handle that different the next time he runs into it. So,
agree.
Folks, we are looking at, I think that Brad's cell phone signal may not support us having him on tonight. So we may try to get him on and do a little bit more. We're going to be busy because Saturday, Illinois plays at 1 p.m. On basketball against the mighty Long Island dudes, and that's at 1 o'clock on the Big Ten Plus, and then so we'll be on. We probably won't do a halftime on that one. We'll do a post game on that one, and then later on, after we, basically do some hydrating, Ked and I'll do some hydrating, some carb loading, then we'll come on and we'll do a halftime and a post-game show for Wisconsin. So, they talk about the athletes being in shape. Well, you don't think Ked and I, this is not easy to watch this much television in one day. But yet somehow when it comes time, Ked and I, we got the soda, we got the pasta, we got the wings, and we do the work.
That's a great time.
I can't say Marcus is as disciplined as us, but we're going to try to bring him along. What?
I just had some wings tonight.
Oh, there we are. All right, then maybe you can join our club.
Mm-hmm. How many games we got left? Football side.
We've got this game and one more, and then the bowl game. So folks. This is a big game because Wisconsin is feeling some hope after, which I don't even understand why, but they're going to keep Luke Fickell, which is fine. But the athletic director kind of admitted that I didn't realize we needed NIL, and that's why he sucked. I don't know why they would want to keep the athletic director. But anyway, it's a long story.
Roads, guys. We still got a chance to win 10 games.
But, yes, Illinois, if they win this one and then can find a way to beat Northwestern, which is anybody who's my age remembers that it's not easy to beat Northwestern even when they're not good.
Yeah.
Illinois would be 9-3, and then Brett Bielema would have an opportunity to be the first coach in the history of Illinois football to have back-to-back double-digit wins.
What bowl game would they be obligated? Like,
then it's a selection process, so it depends on which teams get into the CFP. And then the bowls get a pick. Somebody gets the first pick, and I'd have to look at a list.
There's tiebreakers. And I'm gonna tell you what else matters is fan support. So, like, if we had an opportunity to go head-to-head with Iowa, I don't know if we'd win that battle because they travel. Mike, real quick before we get off the air, Joseph made a comment, and I agree with him. Illinois starts 2 freshmen, and I'm not saying other teams don't, but they start 2 freshmen that they really rely on to score and to produce for them. So they're going to be fine. I was more encouraged with that. And Griff, let me ask you before we get off the air. I've always wanted to know this. I know when they built the United Center, Michael Jordan was not a fan of the shooting environment there. The Illinois has never been they've had some good games there, but it's just not a good shooting environment. Did you ever have any problems with that? Or did the coaches ever say anything to you guys about it? I know a lot of teams talk about it because you look at Keaton Wagner's percentage, you look at Merkovic's shooting percentage, Kylan Boswell. I just don't think it's a good shooting environment. Or maybe I'm wrong.
It's the backdrop. It's so far away. It's the backdrop. It just looked like it's just endless space. Like they've had good games, but we have never shot good in that arena. Never shot the ball well. It's just like that place, like all the basketball arenas are like that. It's a bigger court that they're used to playing on for the NBA. And then that backdrop is just so far. Okay. It's like when you get behind that rim and when you see it, it's just a deep space.
Okay. Because I've always heard that. I remember when they built it, that was one of the complaints, and
Yep.
I've never been a fan of it. I think the shots are long, and when I look at Keaton Wagler, all of the misses he had early were long, and then the second half they were short. He was trying to adjust to it. It kind of tells me it kind of got into his head a little bit.
College arenas are not like that. If you can see, like, you got fans right behind the rim, and then you got a couple, and then it's a bleachers right there. It's like you don't get that empty space that you get in the NBA arenas. They try so much because you go to certain places, they put up a black curtain because you're not going to get so much to try to cover up that space. But a lot of places don't. It's just, and you just look, you like, man, your depth perception can get off.
Say, okay, I thought so. I want to make sure because I remember hearing people say that. It was either Pippen or Jordan. I know one of them said it. But that's not why they lost. So don't, tweet me and say, "Oh, okay, make excuses." That's not why they lost. Sorry, guys, because Alabama shot on the same rims. I understand.
Tonight, the better team won, but something tells me these two teams can play again.
Yep.
NCAA tournament in Chicago, I will be there this year.
Yeah. This I think will be this may be a rivalry that would be kind of fun to do again.
Yeah.
This Illinois team is going to get better. They've got some, if not youth, they've got some inexperience at college ball that these guys are going to pick things up and get going. So, folks, it's we've hit the hour mark, and it is almost going to be midnight here. So we are going to sign off, but you will be able to hear us after the Long Island at Illinois game. We're hoping that will be a boring podcast, just talking about Illinois blowing them out. And then, like I said, we will be back with the Wisconsin game. So that should be a ton of fun. So we are looking very much towards getting that done as well. So, folks, until then, go Illini.
ILL, I and I.
I and I.